Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel again. Now this is part 2 of my little ASMR series that I'm doing, so if you haven't watched part 1 then go and watch part 1. It will be linked in the description where I talk about ASMR and what it is and my opinion on it, talking about the sexualization of it and children doing ASMR as well. So this is the second part to this series. Now today I'm going to be talking about how I became an ASMR YouTuber and how you can become an ASMR YouTuber. So I have a list of questions on my phone, and these are all questions that you have asked me on how to create content. So these range from small ASMR YouTubers that have asked for some tips, and from just viewers who are interested in the type of equipment that I use, or how I get my ideas, or anything like that. So we will just jump straight into the questions, I think. So I asked, hey guys, sorry it's so late. Any questions you might have about making ASMR and tips you'd like, or questions about YouTube, please let me know. So, Celeron ASMR, I think that's how you pronounce it, asked, any tips you have for smaller ASMR channels / those who are starting out would be appreciated. So the tip that I always give to somebody that is starting out is that if you are starting out and watching all these really big ASMR content creators, you are bound to be influenced by somebody, whether it's your favorite ASMR content creator or someone that you feel like you're quite similar to. But I would always suggest take their content with a pinch of salt. Always be true to you and who you are. There is no point putting on a fake accent to try and make you sound more posh or more northern or more American or whatever it might be. Always just be yourself, and it's always your personality that sells. So for example, when you're doing thumbnails, always make it look as though you're smiling and you're happy, or maybe you're a very subdued person and that's what you put across, but always make sure that you're putting you across. Don't try and be somebody else, don't try and copy someone else's ideas. It's always okay to be influenced by other people, but never ever just take exactly what someone has done and recreating it, because you will always give your own spin on something. So make sure you allow yourself to be you. I hope that helps. Right, so next question is from Ellie. I have always wanted to begin ASMR and doing videos, but I don't know where to start. What editing programs do you use, and how do you find the confidence in doing it? I'd love to hear about your experience and your setup, plus what programs you use. So in terms of editing, I use a software called Wondershare Filmora. Now I know that a lot of people who have MacBooks, which is what I have, use iMovie Maker, I think that's what it's called, Movie Maker, I don't know. They use that, which is completely free, and I would definitely suggest using that if you're starting, because it is free. If you don't have that, which I didn't when I started, I had a Windows PC. I started with Wondershare Filmora, and it's something that I went away from, and I have found myself coming back to it. It's really the easiest editing software that I've ever used. It's so simple, and it always comes up with really high quality videos in the end. And also they have little like packages that you can buy, so you can have specific effects, and they have these different like title packages and different like lighting effects or screens or different things. Yeah, it's really good. It costs about £80, I think it was, but that was for a lifetime on one PC. So I mean, depending on how committed you are to making content, depends on the price that you're willing to pay, I suppose. I'm sure there are editing softwares on Windows PC that are completely free, so I would always check that out. If I can find something, I'll link it below, but I probably won't be able to find something, but I'm sure that there's plenty more people that are way more experienced with editing than I am that could give you some advice. Let me see the second part of the question, because I've completely lost my train of thought. Doobie-doobie-doo. Oh, how do you find the confidence in doing ASMR? It's something that I've had to work on a lot. If you go back onto my old videos, I definitely didn't have the confidence that I do now. I've always been on stage or acting, singing, dancing, so it's something that kind of comes naturally to me. I'm very good at portraying myself well, I suppose. But yeah, it's something that I've had to work on. I would always say that it's not going to come naturally to everybody, and it didn't for me either. But you just work on it. It takes time. You always pretend that you are talking to someone that you're very, very close to, which I am. I'm always talking to, my subscribers, which I feel very close to, even though I've never met the majority of you. I feel very close. I feel like you know me as a person. Yeah, always make sure that you feel like you're talking to somebody. If you feel like you're talking to yourself in a room, you're always going to feel awkward, because it's not normal to talk to yourself in a room just sat here. I mean, what is normal? I can't exactly say that what I do is normal, but yeah, don't think too much into it. It's really, really not that complicated to do. I think just practice talking to a camera, talking to yourself in the mirror. Just keep practicing and keep going, and the more content that you create, the easier it'll get. I've now got 189 videos or something crazy like that, so it's taken me a long time. It's taken me a year and a half to get to where I am now, so please don't panic about showing an amazing confidence that you might have when you first start creating, because no one really has that. Okay, next question is by Tinkerbella, which is a cute name. Tinkerbella. I'll have to use that name in an ASMR video because that's great. Tinkerbella. Okay, what camera did you start off with and what editing software? So editing software was Wondershare Filmora. The camera that I started off with was a Sony PowerShot. I'll put the link down below of what camera it was. I don't think you can buy it anymore, but it was a very, very simple point and shoot camera, which is what I use now. I use a point and shoot camera. It's just a more high-tech one. But this camera cost me about £80, the first one that I used. So it wasn't an expensive camera. It was a camera that we had to go on holiday and take photos. So I just used that camera, and I always made sure that I got a microphone, though. I think microphones are way, way more important than cameras. Okay, Ashley Shields says, I would also like to know any helpful tips. I want to start one, but I only have an iPhone, so I'm not really sure I'll be able to start just yet. There's been quite a few people that have created ASMR from their iPhones. iPhones are amazing these days. They have such high quality cameras and high quality microphones. Of course, it's not going to be, the same spec as mine or as GB's, but that's because we've taken a long time to get to the content and the equipment that we have. But yeah, I think that you should still go for it. There's no harm in making a video and just seeing, even if you don't post it. Even if you make yourself an ASMR video and you don't post it, but you just have a go and you just see what the camera looks like, what the sound sounds like, and just have a try with it, you'll never know if you don't try. Okay, so Ruby V says, again, how to be confident in the camera. Each time I try and film, I get really nervous and don't know what to say. So something that I would suggest when you're very, very first starting out is by scripting videos. Now, you don't necessarily have to write exactly word for word what you would say, because I think that makes you kind of sound like a bit of a robot, and if you're not used to acting, then learning a script and then delivering it might not be that believable, and people might just realize very easily that you're reading off of a script. But I would suggest kind of giving yourself bullet points of the types of topics or the specific things that you want to talk about in a video. So for example, if you were doing a role play and you were doing a medical role play, say an eye examination, then you would bullet point all of the different tests that you want to do. So I would say, okay, I want to do a peripheral vision test. I want to do the pupil dilation test. I want to do this Snellen chart. I would write all these different things. And then literally you can just go, okay, so now we're going to move on to this. So if you could just close your eyes for me and just really, really easily explain your way through the video. A lot of the dialogue that you use through ASMR is actually helping you to remember what you're talking about and what's going on within the scenario. But there's also a lot of power in silence in an ASMR video. A lot of the time when you're just sat there and you're just focusing on something for a minute, it can really be very, very powerful. So if you feel like you're stuck with something to say, maybe don't say anything. Maybe just give yourself a second, ease yourself into the scenario, and then see if something comes. And if it doesn't, you can always edit it out. It's not a problem. Okay, Becca's stuff says, what microphone do you use? And is there a specific mic you really recommend for beginners? I would always recommend a Blue Yeti microphone for a beginner. This microphone costs about £100 to £120, so I think that's about $150, something around that kind of ballpark. So it sounds like quite a lot of money. That's nothing compared to what the high microphones are. But the Blue Yeti is a really basic, fabulous all-rounder. It's got really, really high quality sound. You get a decent binaural effect. It's not amazing. Usually one side is stronger than the other, so that can cause some issues. But for a beginner, it's brilliant. It picks up sound so well, and the gain on the Blue Yeti microphone you can turn up really, really high as well, so you can pick up the tiniest little flicks and things. It's brilliant. It's such a good microphone. I was using the Blue Yeti for at least the first year that I was creating content, before I decided to get myself a 3DO. And I only used the 3DO for about 2 months before I got myself these lovely Rode microphones, and I'm in love with these now, and I don't use anything else because I just think they're fab. But yes, I would definitely get a Blue Yeti if you're going to start with anything. The company that make Blue Yeti also make, I think it's called Blue Snowball as well, which is a slightly smaller microphone, which I think is about half the price. And I have seen some content creators making ASMR with that, so if that's an option that might be better for you, if it's a bit cheaper, then I would definitely go with that as well. Any microphones like Tascams or Zooms, they're really good for ASMR content as well. They're not the best. I definitely would say that the Blue Yeti is the best one to get. But if it's out of your price range, you can also get second-hand ones on eBay, but just be careful because Blue Yeti microphones don't always last through the warranty. My first one only lasted for about 7 or 8 months, and then I had to buy myself another one, and unfortunately Amazon didn't give me an opportunity to send it back, even though it was still clear under warranty. So that's unfortunate, so always watch out for that. I would definitely suggest buying one in store somewhere so you've got a receipt. Always do that. Okay, so Queen K 0880 says, I would love to know where to start, especially on a budget. So I would always start, if I was on a budget, literally any camera that you can get your hands on. Just give it a go. As I said before, you don't have to post these videos, but you can get practice. I think that these days you can make ASMR with anything, and if you are passionate enough about creating ASMR content, then you will save those pennies until you can afford a microphone or a camera. I would suggest if you are going to save for anything, please save for a microphone. Don't save for a camera. You can always record on your phone camera and then just plug a microphone into a laptop. That's a really good thing about Blue Yeti microphones, is they plug straight into a laptop and you can record with free recording software from the laptop, and then you can just edit them together with hopefully free editing software as well. Okay, so Chelsea says, I'm interested in your setup. I actually asked a few days ago and I saw your comment as well. For some reason it came up on the spam filter. I don't know why, but it did. But then by the time that I'd seen it, you'd already said this, so I thought, okay, I'll reply to you here rather than reply to you in the comments. So thank you for your comment. I actually asked a few days ago. Specifically, I'd like to know what mics and your camera, lighting, and how you set up your background. Okay, so I'd quite like to show you. Maybe I can pick you up. If I give you a second, I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to show you exactly what I've got. Of course, I can't show you the camera that I've got. Yes, I can. I've got another one. Okay, bear with me. Okay, so this is my setup. The sound might be a bit weird because I'm standing away from the microphones, but basically here is my backdrop. And the backdrops I use are these really large, like round, I don't know what you call it, they're just backdrops. I've got this one here, oh god, it's falling. Yeah, I've got this one here, which is black, and then it is white on the opposite side. I want to show you, but I don't want it to fall on me. This is professional, isn't it? There we go, right, okay, so we've got black, and then we've got white on the other side, and then we've got my green screen, and then we've got a blue screen on the other side. And then I sit on this little wooden stool, very professional of me. And then here is my setup. That's a pile of washing. Okay, so I've got 2 Rode microphones, and then this is my camera tripod. I have these 2 LED lights. I think they're 480 lights, LEDs, with soft boxes on the top. So I've got 2 of those. These lights have yellow and white settings on them, so you can change the lights. So that's those. And then I also have my MacBook, which I record my audio on, and then I plug my microphones into here, which this is a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, I think that's what it's called. And this just picks up the sound, goes into there, and then that's pretty much it. I'll just grab the camera to show you, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I probably could have shown you my setup a little bit better than that, but this is the camera that I have. Now this is the Canon G7X. I actually have the Mark II now, so this is Matt's camera. I've gifted it to him because I wanted the Mark II. It was about £500. I bought this one off my brother actually, so I got it at a discount, but yeah, they're quite expensive for what they are. They are point and shoots, but they're brilliant because they basically can be used as a camera for this kind of like sit down content, and then also the screen flips up so you can like vlog style with it as well. So I think that these video cameras are fabulous, and they are exactly what I need. I originally wanted to get a really big DSLR camera, but I decided it's so chunky and it would mean that I'd have to have 2 different cameras at the same time, and this was just the best option for me. Okay, so Jose Ramirez says, how do you stay motivated to do ASMR? Do you feel obligated to pump out videos, or is it something that you love at this point? I adore ASMR, and I always have done. I watched it since I was 15. There are times where I do feel like, oh, I need to get a video out tonight because my audience are expecting it. But the majority of the time, it's just because I genuinely love to make content. I love sitting in front of a camera, and I love to just create. I do hate editing. Editing's really, really boring for me, and I just feel like it's a real slug to just get it done. But I do get it done. But that's always kind of, I leave it to the last minute to edit a video, so that's usually why my videos aren't always up at the same time, is because I've literally sat there still editing it when it's supposed to be live. Meredith asks, where do you record your videos to keep it quiet? Do you ever have live backdrops, or does it make it more challenging? So I always record in our spare room, which is this room now. I did actually create a tingle shed, which is what Whispers Red ASMR has, but unfortunately it didn't work. It wasn't soundproof enough, and the rain kept getting in, and it just wasn't appropriate, so I just hoisted all my stuff back to the spare room, and this really is the best place for me to record. But it is difficult to get it quiet because there are 6 of us most of the time in this house, so it means that I've got to kind of bargain with people on when I can have some free time, and I end up recording a lot in the evening. Currently it's not too late, it's about 10 past 10, but usually it has to be about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm recording. Meredith also asks, which content is most popular and which do you personally like the best? The content that is usually most popular are medical roleplays, hypnosis and triggers. And the one that I like the best, I like doing the hypnosis ones because I feel like that's kind of like my niche and my knack. I've got a good knack at it. But medical roleplays are probably the most fun to do because I just feel very intellectual when I'm doing them. Nala Era asks, do your friends and family know about your YouTube channel? Yes, they do. Absolutely everybody that knows me knows that I do YouTube. I share it on all my social media profiles. I'm very, very open about it. I wasn't very open about it when I first started, but I mean, I can't really hide it now. I've been on BBC Radio 1. I mean, it's quite a difficult thing to hide. Let's have a look. Okay, so Cara Webster asks, who was the first ASMR artist that you listened to and got addicted to in the beginning? The first one I ever listened to, I think, was Gentle Whispering. I think. I'm pretty sure. I mean, when I first started watching ASMR, there was not that many ASMR artists. I remember watching Gentle Whispering, Whispers Unicorn, The Water Whispers Ilsa, and I think that's about it. I think Whispers Red started making content maybe when I started watching it, or maybe a year after. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah. Oh, Lily Whispers ASMR as well. I really, really love her. And Casimir asks, soundproofing. What advice do I have for soundproofing? I don't actually soundproof my room. I'm quite lucky that it's quite quiet and I do have quite high quality microphones, but I would always suggest, I can't really show you, I've got pop filters, and when I had my Blue Yeti I always had like a foam thing to sit on it. The best way for soundproofing is usually making sure that your curtains are drawn, your windows are closed, and that there's no one walking around the house, because that's usually where I find it the most difficult. Let's have a look. Oh, and how did I find a chair that doesn't squeak? Actually, I had a chair that squeaks for absolutely ages, but luckily this stool doesn't squeak at all, but I do have a carpet now underneath it, so that kind of stops it from squeaking so much. And finally, how do you deal with haters and creeps? I don't actually experience that a lot anymore. It was something that I experienced a lot when I very first started. I didn't handle it the best when I started. They always tell you to block and just ignore, but I would kind of share it on Twitter and be outraged, or I would reply. But yeah, I would always say, block them or just don't reply. A lot of the time when you block somebody, they end up getting quite angry, and then they'll go to another social media profile and harass you there, and then it'll continue to go on. I actually had a very worrying experience of that. But the best thing to do is probably not to block them, and probably just completely ignore them or hide their comments, so they think that they're still commenting, but they're definitely not, and you've got the control. Hannah Cotton asks, what microphones do you use and how much are they roughly? PS, love your channel. Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, so the microphones I use are the Rode NT1As. I use 2 of them, and I think they were about £350 for 2 of them. But you've got to remember, it's taken me a year and a half to be able to afford these, so this is not the kind of thing that you would be able to have when you first start your content. I think GB uses the NT1s, so Rode NT1, NT1A, they're kind of the best microphones, I think. Alexandra Springate asks, did you have a media background, or were you good with computers or video editing? And is it important to have this experience under your belt to do ASMR videos? Not at all. I am awful at editing. I'm really, really not a techie person. I had to do a lot of research to understand what kind of things I needed for other things to work, and how I would, split content, or I would link audio to visual, what lights I needed, or cameras that were good. I literally had no idea. It's something that I've had to learn. I've gotten a little bit of advice from some other ASMR artists, but not a lot. Usually I just Google things, and I'm very fortunate that my brother is a photographer, so he knew a lot about lighting and photography and cameras and things. But in terms of audio, it's been a long, long process for me to work out like how to soundproof or how to get the best out of my audio. So no, you definitely don't need that experience. You can just learn as you go. Christina R asks, I wanted to ask you, how do you get your video ideas? Where does your inspiration come from? I never really have a true idea of what I'm gonna make. Usually I'll literally write a sentence of like the title of a video, or a specific trigger that I want to use, and then I'll just kind of get it, and I'll sit down and I'll just make what I want to make. My ideas usually come from other videos that I've made, or other videos that other people have made. I would never intentionally full out copy somebody, but you can always take inspiration from other people. Anything that I find relaxing, I suppose. Any characters that I like. Medical ones are always a safe go-to, so I always stick to that kind of thing. And yeah, I guess that's it. Christine asks, how do you manage your time and balance school and ASMR? I don't balance it very well. I don't get a lot of sleep. At the moment, currently, I'm struggling on about 5 or 6 hours sleep a night. That's if I stick to recording and school as well. But I only have about 7 or 8 months left of school, so fingers crossed I can just, struggle along until it's all done. May Finch asks, I have so many questions. Do you ever get triggered when you edit your own videos? Yes, I do. Do many people from your university know about or watch your channel? Everybody that I know from university knows about my channel. Only a very, very small amount of them watch it. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of negativity from people who are friends with me that don't like ASMR necessarily, but yeah, it's okay though. I mean, ASMR is something that not everyone's going to understand, but I always ask that people are respectful about it. Okay, so that is the second part of this ASMR series done. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't watched the first part, please go and find it in the link below. And again, like and share and subscribe to this channel if you are new. I'm trying to make as much content for you as possible. I've neglected this channel and now I'm really, really trying not to. So thank you very much again. All my love, sincerely, Sophie.